All right. For more, let's bring in Ashley Moody, Florida Attorney General. Ashley, good to see you. Thanks for joining me. All right. You uncovered footage of ICE. Yeah, you too. Revealing 150,000 migrants were released into the U.S. without a court date. Tell us more about this.
Oh, this is just a very small fraction, a short period of time where our litigation uncovered that the Biden administration had really done away with any sort of vetting or processing or even issuing a charging document to someone who came into the United States illegally. Instead, they just handed them a slip of paper and told them to report to the nearest ICE office where they intended to reside. We discovered this through litigation. As you know, since Biden started taking a wrecking ball to our public safety immigration structures, we have filed suit here in Florida, forcing them to follow federal law, which was put in place to protect our border, to protect Americans. They've been doing everything within their power to just wreck that, tear it down. They did away with Remain in Mexico. They even asked Congress to reduce the detention capacity that they had. They started saying they wouldn't deport people just because they were here illegally, and they stopped vetting and processing people. All of this has been done over the last 2 years since Biden has been in office, and it has weakened our border to the extent that when Title 42 is rescinded, there will be a surge that they will not be able to hold. They certainly can't hold the border now. Imagine when the whole thing is overrun. Oh, by the way, what we also uncovered in litigation was that their plan was when Title 42 went away and they got overrun, they were just going to stand back and let it happen. That was their plan. And you've seen no plan to the contrary to date. So our litigation is really uncovering that we are vulnerable and Biden is doing nothing about it.
Yeah, so I mean, just to review, when someone comes across the border, makes a claim for asylum, they get a court date. But when you have millions of people come across the border, it's too many people to give court dates to. So to your lawsuit, you found out that the administration is saying just go about your business and report to the nearest immigration office at your location. Ashley, do you know, are these migrants actually showing up, self-reporting when they get to their final destination, or are they just evaporated into the fabric of America?
No, even worse. And Americans need to understand this. They're releasing people that are here illegally into the United States. Not only are they not vetting them, and you know they have found dozens of people on the terrorist watch list that are trying to enter this country. They're losing track of these people. They have no way to find them because they haven't done the proper processing and vetting. They haven't issued charging documents. They've admitted they've lost track and can't find people. It will take them decades to find these people ever if they do. And what's just so shocking is all of this has been purposeful. What we uncovered is even in training videos, the employees were so exasperated. The folks doing the training for ICE said, we didn't ask for this. We know you didn't ask for this. We didn't ask for this. You know, basically we're just letting people in with a slip of paper. They're troubled. Of course they're troubled because they're charged with doing the law, following the law and enforcing the law. And so in reality, what you have is responsible, fiscally minded, public safety oriented states like Florida and Texas trying to hold the line, trying to shore up the breakdown that Biden has caused. And thank goodness, because think about what you would have if you didn't have states like Florida and Texas demanding that this administration follow the law, uncovering the truth, holding them accountable. I mean, it's absurd. It's almost like the parents telling the child, don't do that, it's dangerous. Remember, you have to follow the rules. We can't afford that. Don't do that. Our house won't, we can't afford that in the house. So it is astounding. I cannot wait until we have a president that, again, is mindful of the public safety of Americans and is fiscally responsible with taxpayer money.
But actually, our laws are weak. We do need immigration reform. When I served in the House, I mean, this was the debate. You had Republicans that say, listen, we need border security. And Democrats are like, we want amnesty on a pathway to citizenship with voting rights. And Republicans are like, we could let people get up on a pathway to legal status, but not citizenship. That was the debate then, several years ago. But now with millions of more people that have come into the country, there's no way that you're going to find an agreement because Republicans are never going to allow for, you know, whether it's 20 or 30 million illegal migrants to become U.S. citizens. And Democrats now are never going to secure the border. So we're going to have the status quo, which is an absolute disaster. And hopefully we have more governors like your governor and the Texas governor that will use all the tools in their toolbox to push back and fight back against the policy.
Well, you're right, Sean. I mean, at this point, Biden's decided he doesn't like our immigration laws. He's not going to follow them, even though he's the president of the United States. You have never before seen a breakdown like this at our border. You will never before see the ramifications and the consequences of what will happen as a result of this lack of law enforcement. I cannot believe we have a president of a United States that is not securing our border, not protecting our people, not discussing with foreign leaders the ramifications of the overwhelming drugs that are flooding and killing Americans. It's almost such an abdication of duty, so irresponsible. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this in the history of our country, and I hope this never, ever happens again with another sitting president.
Ashley, we have the border that's rotting, but also I want to move on to another rotting issue, which is ESG. Now, we have a growing pushback against ESG investing standards. And I got to tell you what, I'm a huge fan of yours because in Florida, you are leading the way on this. You were able to pull Florida's $2 billion out of BlackRock, which is one of the most woke pro-ESG funds out there. Tell me what's the status of ESG pullback with not just your state, but other states, and is this catching fire?
Well, it's so disheartening that you've already seen what happens when you see out of Washington these policies that's pushing this down into states. It's causing the food on your table to increase in cost, your gas prices to go up. I mean, it is so hurting the American family just with the irresponsible policies coming out of Washington. And now they are trying to use these big financial titans to restrict access to capital, to make sure that they're using taxpayer funds to go towards some ideological purpose other than what they should be focused on, and that's being good fiduciaries with diversification, risk, rate of return, looking at those. So in Florida, we made sure, as stewards of our pensions, that we made sure that our state required there to be none of that nonsense, that only those that were overseeing and investing our pension funds, they were only looking at those financial interests and not some woke policy agenda. And I do think as more and more states learn about this, they'll do the same. They have to. They are charged with being responsible leaders in their state.
You are so right. Attorney General Ashley Moody, bravo. Thank you for doing that. Hopefully more states will follow suit. Appreciate you joining me.